Today, I'm diving deep into something a lot of people in crypto overlook, and that's how to invest tax free. Whether you're holding Bitcoin long term, earning yield, or even just thinking about retirement, this conversation is going to open your eyes. I just sat down with Jared Feldman from iTrustCapital, one of the leading platforms for crypto IRAs and 401ks, and we're going to break down exactly how that all works, how you can hold Bitcoin and Ethereum in a retirement account, and what new products like their PCA mean for everyday investors. We'll also touch on gold and silver investing, tax advantages, and how iTrust is expanding access to institutional grade tools for the retail investor. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, whether it's hot or iced, folks, because this one's packed with insights that could save you a lot over the long run. My name is Paul Sampson. This is DataDash. All right, everybody. So with me today, I have Jared Feldman from iTrust. Jared, how are you doing today, sir?
I mean, just another day in crypto. I have absolutely no complaints. It's pretty wild to be in the space in general, and this week is the epitome of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got well, last week was quite the move, especially with that wick down on Friday as we closed the traditional markets. But yeah, everything's all time highs. Bitcoin, even though after that pullback a little bit, we're still holding above $100,000, really over 110. Which, I think if we would have all agreed a couple years back, when we always used to joke saying that there'll be days when we say that Bitcoin crashes down to 100,000, and we yearn for that until it actually comes. We've got precious metals and equities and all the major indices at all-time highs. So I think this is a really exciting time to kind of dive into what iTrust offers, because it's a slew of products along with just a little bit of history behind the company, a little bit about maybe yourself a little bit. So I'll just jump into a couple of questions I have, and we can of course kind of go off of that at any point. But I just wanted to kind of start off with this one here. Essentially, at the moment, even though things are at these high pieces, a lot of people are starting to think long term, continually here, and not just trading, but building wealth that lasts. So for those that aren't familiar, can you break down how the iTrustCapital crypto IRA actually works? What makes it different from a traditional retirement account, essentially?
Absolutely. iTrustCapital is a software platform that provides access to digital assets like the cryptos that we have. We also have physical assets like gold and silver, which a lot of people on our platform really enjoy investing in. There's a Venn diagram when it comes to the investment philosophy, ideologies, and just view of the macroeconomic environment and government spending between crypto investors and gold and silver investors. They have a lot of the same principles, and that's why we offer both of those asset types on our platform. We have 85 different digital assets, and we offer access to buying and selling, staking, as well as institutional custody. Our, I guess, secret sauce is the fact that we offered regular retail investors of all shapes and sizes access to opportunities that are usually only available for institutional level investors. What do I
Mhm.
mean by that? If you look at our institutional custody providers, we utilize Coinbase Prime, Fidelity Digital Assets, as well as Fireblocks. And those are providers that normally are only available for institutional class. The reason why we built our platform the way that we did is because people who want to participate in crypto that feel a little bit vulnerable on exchanges or feel vulnerable with self custody want to be able to utilize a platform where they're kind of bowling with the guardrails up, right? They have those bumpers up when they want to bowl because they want to be able to learn and to be able to feel safe as they bowl. And it's the same thing on our platform when it comes to digital assets. People want to feel safe. They want to have certain security that's baked into the platform that they use. And that's why we built our platform using a secure closed loop system. When it comes to our claim to fame, the retirement accounts is really how we started the company and why most
Yeah.
people gravitated toward us. Now we are offering what we're referring to as a premium custody account, which is our non-retirement account. It has the same security features as our retirement accounts. And, we have over 100,000 people that have a retirement account with us. And the reason why people want to put crypto or any asset into a retirement account is because it's all tax sheltered while it's inside of the vehicle, right? And there's different types of IRAs that you can have. We can get into that during the course of this conversation. But the main reason why people want to put funds into a retirement account is because it's tax sheltered during the life cycle of the account itself.
And such an interesting piece here. So with the like precious metals such as gold and silver, I imagine that you have real like in purse or physical gold and silver to like kind of back that up essentially. And then of course you have to have the digital pieces as well, as far as like Bitcoin and everything like that. Like how does somebody that wants to get involved in, especially with the digital assets, when we come over to something along that line, you just mentioned the new premium custody, the PCA, I believe, and it's for someone that's brand new into that. Is this something when that they can easily just kind of walk into brand new? Can they roll over existing, IRAs and 401ks easily into this that are not crypto related right now, for example?
Almost all of the funds that come onto our platform are being pulled from the legacy system. If you have a 401k with a previous employer, if you have an IRA, an individual retirement account that you've put money into in the past, or maybe you have an individual retirement account because you had a previous 401k that you had rolled over into an IRA, you can move those funds over to us, right? We've extracted billions of dollars from the legacy financial system by our clients kind of offboarding from those institutions and
Hmm.
allocating their retirement assets directly into crypto. The three ways you can fund your account, as we alluded to: 401k rollover from a previous job, an IRA transfer, or a cash contribution. You can put a max annual amount into an individual retirement account. It's 7,000 if you're under 50, $8,000 if you're 50 or over. And those are the three main ways that people fund an account. A lot of folks do have crypto in an already existing retirement account, and they can move that over to us in kind as an IRA transfer. And those are the main ways that people deposit with us. You can just go to iTrustCapital.com, select open account, and we have a kind of like a self-service step-by-step process for those that want to partake in that. We also have an open phone line, 7 a.m. to 5 o'clock Pacific, with no lunch break, that people can call and get help on weekdays from people on our team.
One of the bigger appeals, obviously, to using a crypto IRA is for the tax efficiency. You've touched on it a couple times already, but for someone who's like active in crypto or even metals, like what are the biggest tax advantages that could come along with holding those assets through iTrust, and how do traditional versus the Roth IRAs differ in the tax regard? I guess if that's if it's a huge difference in that case.
It's a great question. There's a reason why most of the trading, right, the buying and selling in the United States, there's a reason why most of it occurs inside a retirement account. And it's because those are tax sheltered vehicles. If you're taking a transaction, if you're earning interest in treasury or fixed income, all of that income, all of those gains, all those profits, if you make them, are tax sheltered, and you don't have to pay gains or even report capital gains taxes or ordinary income taxes on those transactions. So I can take a step back for a second. If you have $10,000 that you put into Bitcoin, for example, or XRP or Ethereum or Solana or any asset on a
Mhm.
regular exchange, and that $10,000 goes to $30,000, and you decide to take profit and you sell that 30,000, the $20,000 in profit, 30 minus 10 equals $20,000 in profit, is subject to what's referred to as capital gains taxes. If you held on to that Bitcoin for over a year, it's long term capital gains, which is taxed at a lower rate than short term capital gains. Short term capital gains is if you held the funds for less than 12 months, and it's taxed at ordinary income, which is about the same tax rate that you pay through your W 2 income on your paycheck through work. If you earn any sort of staking rewards on another platform that's not tax sheltered, you're taxed on those staking rewards. I know that the government is currently negotiating on a market infrastructure bill, and maybe they'll cover staking rewards, but for now you have to pay taxes on those. All of these transactions that I'm alluding to, a profitable transaction, staking income, that's all tax sheltered in a retirement account. You're not
Mhm.
reporting those capital gains, and that's a huge advantage. There's different types of retirement accounts, as you were also asking about. The main two are a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. The traditional, you normally take a deduction, right? So you're lowering your income when you put money in and you use it to reduce your taxable income. The money grows tax sheltered inside of the traditional IRA, and then it comes out taxable when you retire at 59 and a half. A
Mhm.
Roth IRA, you don't take a deduction. So it's after tax on the way in, but the money grows tax sheltered and it comes out tax free. And this is why most people want to get their funds into a Roth IRA. Because if you can pay taxes or not pay taxes, people are going to choose to not pay taxes, which is why a Roth
Right.
is optimal. But at the same time, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And if you want to get funds into a Roth IRA, you are paying taxes on those funds, whether before you put it in, because if you put it in, it's after tax income you're putting into the Roth. And a lot of people want to convert their traditional IRA into a Roth IRA. And if you do that, which is something we have hundreds, if not thousands, of clients that do that every month, to convert a traditional into a Roth, you pay taxes now to avoid paying taxes later. We had a client in 2021. She converted a Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin at $30,000 per Bitcoin from her traditional into her Roth. So she made $100,000 in income from her job that year. And then she
Mhm.
converted 3 Bitcoin at 30K and took on an additional $90,000 in income for the year. And she got taxed at the income tax bracket for $190,000. Her family laughed at her. They thought it was a joke. But now with Bitcoin sitting at, I think it was like rubbing $111,000 this morning, that's
Indeed.
$333,000 that she would have been taxed on as opposed to that extra 90. So she kind of had the last laugh. So there's a lot of
Right.
tax strategies and tax planning that you can deploy using these kind of vehicles.
No, that's very insightful. 'Cause even for myself, I've been using, utilizing this product as well. So, and I always just kind of had these questions that some burning questions, I guess, that I wanted to ask even somebody like yourself who just hadn't had the time or gotten on the, phone call with anybody about it. And just to kind of hear that and see that, like, that breakdown, especially with the young lady that just did that with the Bitcoin, like that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's pretty helpful. Now, today we've also got precious metals really making some headlines again in the markets, as both gold and silver are just completely skyrocketing. You over there at iTrust obviously offer crypto, but you also offer and provide the access to physical gold and silver inside the IRA. How does that work mechanically, and why might investors want to diversify into metals, especially with gold making new all-time highs?
We have a really unique program for gold and silver. And as I was saying before, when it comes to macroeconomic philosophy and views, ideology, and investment hypotheses, there's a lot of overlap between crypto investors and precious metal investors. Our company was founded by folks that came from the precious metal space. They truly believe precious metals should be available to people in their retirement accounts at a reasonable, fair fee. There's so much price gouging and hidden fees, and even fees that people are upfront about that are just straight up gouging people in the gold
Right.
industry. And we really make it a priority and take such pride in the fact that we're offering very fair pricing and really, really competitive fees on gold and silver. People normally ask us, especially sophisticated precious metal investors, how are we offering physical precious metals that you can take possession of in a retirement account for such competitive fees? Or our
Mhm.
clients actually take distributions from their retirement account in gold and silver delivered to their home. And the way that the program works is we
Yeah.
work with Kitco, who's a precious metals dealer, and they work with a couple of other companies. One is called Tradewind, and the other one is Vault Chain. And the way that this program works is the precious metals, the physical gold and physical silver, are held in very large bars, and they're guaranteed and vaulted by the Royal Canadian Mint. Those large bars are broken up into tiny pieces, ledgered in a private blockchain technology through this program, through the Vault Chain Tradewind partnership and technology. It's not a public blockchain like Ethereum or
Mhm.
XRP or Bitcoin. It's a private blockchain, and it's a really great example of how you can tokenize real world assets and have those real world assets held physically in a location, but then leveraging blockchain technology to create cost efficiency and fair pricing for our clients. Because our clients can buy and sell gold and silver 24/7, they can take physical possession of it, but the way that cost efficiency is created through the program is by leveraging private blockchain technology.
the gold piece is I think a big piece that is going to be in, like, something that is the appetite for a lot of people may have, especially in the times of the potential uncertainties. I actually just made a video today about how gold breaking out is usually not a great sign down the road. Generally, that usually insinuates that investors are kind of running towards a little bit of, I guess they're losing confidence in like the fiat system, at least in the nearish term, right? And people are kind of hedging their bets a little bit. To me, I kind of always went off of this 20-year cycle theory as far as like the housing market, and then that kind of stumbles over into the stock market. People refer to it as the economic business cycle and what have you. And crypto has had traditionally 4-year cycles up until recently. And in 2022, I started really leaning into the idea that Bitcoin was making its first 20-year cycle alongside the housing market, the stock market, and all these things, right? With like the next coming years kind of being potentially that where everything kind of peaks into in like 2027, 2028. With that all being said, essentially, that time frame and just everything currently at all-time highs. And personally, I still think things will go higher from here for at least the next, maybe 12 to 18 months here. Gold at record levels, the dollar showing weakness, essentially, inflation staying pretty sticky here. Are you noticing that more people are using iTrustCapital at this point to position like defensively, would you say? Or like what kind of strategies are investors gravitating towards inside their IRAs right now with everything at these kind of on, basically higher levels at this point?
As I was saying before, we really have all shapes and sizes of individuals on our platform. Some of the folks are Bitcoin maximalists and they only own Bitcoin. Some
Hmm.
people are gold and silver maximalists and only have precious metals. Some people are all sorts of strategies in between that. They'll have Bitcoin and precious metals. They'll have a basket of 30 different crypto assets as well as precious metals. They're very well diversified people on our platform. I mean, sure, we've had a lot of renewed interest after the election because people thought that there would be fair regulation on the crypto industry. But
Hmm.
in general, since we founded the company in 2018 and launched our software in 2019, it's been a steady drumbeat of consistent onboarding to our platform. And I've spoken, probably for me personally, I've spoken with over 10,000 of our clients just because of how long I've been doing this job for. And the theme that people have is there's just a general hedging against macroeconomic and government action. And
Yeah.
our clients are weary, and maybe some of them you would even say they're skeptical about what's been going on with fiat currency. Some of them are just looking to diversify and have a little bit more of a risk return play and allocation into their overall retirement portfolio. But I would say the majority of our clients are very well aware. They're acutely aware of the amount of government spending that we've seen and just
Yeah.
the inconsistent interest rate strategy over the last 20 years, dating all the way back to the housing crisis of 2007. I think people have just lived through those cycles, and they see, for the most part, that the folks that are making regulations in our country and the people who make decisions over money are just humans, and no one is perfect. And in order to hedge yourself from human action and human mistakes, you invest in hard assets. And I think that's just what we're seeing over time. As for what you were saying before about, people losing faith in fiat currency and, the amount of appreciation we've seen in the gold and now silver market, I think it derives from a lot of different areas. And we don't provide financial advice at iTrustCapital. I just kind of have to say that before I go into an opinion, because I
Yeah.
do always have an opinion as people
I hear
around the
that.
office. And also our clients have learned that I always have an opinion on something. And I really, really think that it's not just gold and silver that are quote unquote overvalued. I think that the overvaluations are being seen across the capital markets right now, even the
Yeah.
housing market, the real estate market. It's so difficult to buy an investment property nowadays and to be able to turn it into a profitable endeavor when it comes to rental income, just because of the interest rate dynamics and the price of housing right now. And I think that's just because of the amount of money that we've injected into the system, not just with soft interest rates and expansionary policies over the last 10 years, but particularly since COVID. I think that we've just used, money printing as an antidote to a lot of our issues that we've seen. And I think we're also very political. I remember growing up that, obviously we had Democrats and we had Republicans, but I
Yeah,
think nowadays it's so much more political when it comes to decision making. And there's almost like Democrat inflation numbers and Republican inflation numbers, and everyone's kind of
right.
always cherry picking and trying to create a narrative. And that
Yep.
sort of uncertainty also will lead people to investing in hard assets like gold and Bitcoin.
I completely agree. And like I said, I personally have been really tracking along, with what the macro setup is here. And, around that 2020 mark, man, when just on top of just the inflation and everything that got ushered in at that point, the interest rates, we shut down our supply chain for several weeks across the world when everybody was sitting at home, which obviously led to things years down the road where like just that the inflation of everything at that point, the cost of things there, and then the goods as far as that would go. And then on top of that, now you just have everything just reaching levels that are just unseen, but not in a sense where it's like everybody has those things or everybody can afford them still, or like you said, housing for the best one. I remember seeing people in 2020 time frame sell their home for like $100,000 more than it was worth cash, and they were very excited about it because they were like, I'm just going to go rent an apartment for a year or two till the market collapses, and then I'll come in with my $100,000 extra cash, and I'll just put a nice down payment on a new home and all this. So that was everybody's idea. Fast forward 5 years later, they're out of that $100,000 because they've had to spend 3 to 4 thousand on rent, and the market's not going anywhere. May go there eventually, but it still probably has a few more years of upside, and then you have everything at these levels as well, which again is pushing people to look into different type of things like investing with IRAs and something that can kind of protect you a little bit and grow your wealth as far as that would go too. So, man, Jared, what a really great conversation we had today. It's really insightful. Again, I'm somebody who uses iTrust and has for the last few years, so this is just kind of giving me a little bit more behind the scenes view that I was interested in getting anyway. So, really appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day to join us. For anybody that's watching out there who wants to learn more about how to protect and grow your assets long term, whether it's through a crypto IRA or even with gold and silver, make sure to check out iTrustCapital. They've built one of the most, if not the most, in my opinion, trusted platforms in the industry. And it's clear that their team is thinking seriously about security, tax efficiency, and investor control. So, especially with that new premium custody account, that new PCA that they've just launched recently as well. So,
Thanks
Jared,
so much
thanks
for having
again.
me.
Yeah, thanks again, Jared, for coming on, my friend. And we'll see you all in the next video, everybody. Till then, everyone, cheers.